Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. Thank you for joining me. It is the last Friday of the month, which means it's this month I have been mostly video. For those of you who are not aware of this video, it's your first time coming to my channel, I wrap up anything that I've been watching, listening to and reading over the last month. And give you some recommendations and chat about things that I've really enjoyed doing that is not necessarily comic book related, because this is a comic book channel, but I just thought for this year I do something a little bit different and show you some different avenues of my hobbies and entertainment type things that I do that's not comic book reading, because I do a lot of that. This week my listening gets a bit serious, my watching is very casual, and in the reading section I actually read a proper book. Yes, it's a non-fiction book and I'm really enjoying it, but as I've said in the past, I'm a very slow reader, and I've had this book for a while and I just thought I'd read quite a bit of it until I gave some thoughts about it. So I hope you enjoy what you're about to see. It's a little bit different because usually I pick 2 or 3 things for each category, but this month only the one for each. But I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. So, what have I been mostly listening to? Right, let's get the very serious topic out of the way. This month, as much as I've been listening to a lot of music this week, I wanted to talk about an app that I use a great deal, and certainly have used it a lot over the last few years. For a lot of my adult life I have dealt with anxiety in various degrees of severity. When it's sort of like in my mid-20s, to my early 30s, it was very sporadic, to, you know, the mild cases where I just felt very restless, I couldn't sit still, to the most severe that only happened once, but I was literally paralysed in my bed. I couldn't move. I just felt so oppressed and claustrophobic that my body just basically stopped. It wouldn't let me do anything, and it scared me a great deal, it has to be said. And I think certainly in this day and age, mental health is a very serious issue, and I don't think a lot of men in particular like to speak about it, like to deal with it, because the whole testosterone masculinity thing, and try and kind of push it aside and forget about it. But it can, and this I'm talking just in my perspective, it can be incredibly debilitating. Fortunately, over the years, these events that took place that sparked my anxiety. I mean, in those days it was very much about finances, and it was money orientated, that was causing me all the stress and anxiety. But once I got on top of that and sorted myself out, those moments of anxiety were few and far between. It didn't go away, but it was very manageable from then on. Unfortunately, over the last certainly 3 years, due to an incident at work, that anxiety has certainly come back tenfold, and I've had a lot of problems with it. So I'd been to the doctors for it. They prescribed me pills at times, mostly sleeping tablets, because I found it very difficult to sleep, because my mind was racing, running through scenarios of things that never would happen, never happened, but because of this incident at work, I was always kind of now walking on eggshells. I was very untrustworthy of a lot of people that I had to interact with, and that caused me a great deal of anxiety. And of course I didn't want to go down that route of continually taking pills, kind of beta blockers they prescribed me at one point. I just didn't want to have to continually take them, so I had to find other means to kind of relax myself, put me in a kind of clear mindset. And actually a fellow worker pointed me to this particular app, and I want to show you it, and I want you to kind of go through it and how I use it. A lot of it I'm not going to be able to show you, because despite putting the brightness down as low as I can, the screen is very white and it just glares on here. So some of it I'll have to talk you through. Now it's this one, this is the load up page. It's called Insight Timer, and as you can see it glares up. What we have, it's a meditation app. Now I'm just like, oh shut up you big hippie, meditation, don't be so ridiculous. But what you have in here, I mean, yes, there are kind of these meditation experts talking you through into an almost, I guess, a hypnotic or trance-like state, or just that kind of settling, relaxing, calming voice that is meant to relax you. If people are talking to me, I'm just listening to what they're saying and not particularly perhaps taking what they're saying in, and that doesn't relax my mind. It doesn't clear it. But what it does have in is a lot of a lot of instrumental music, but it has a lot of also soundscapes which kind of repeats itself over and over again. And one of the tricks I used to use when I couldn't sleep was, and this is mad, it really is. Obviously my brain is going over and over and having all these weird stupid conversations in the head that I can't stop. So the only way I can stop it is fighting it with a single word and saying it in my head, not out loud but in my head, over and over and over again, to stop all the rest of the nonsense that's going on in there. And I don't know where I got this word from. Well, I know where it's come from, but I don't know why I used it and why it worked for a long time. But I used the word torchwood, which is that Doctor Who TV spin-off. Don't know why I picked that, but that would work and it would calm my mind. But there are these soundscapes, and they are repeating the kind of same riff, I guess you'd call it, and that again, I guess it's pushing out all the talk, all the nonsense that's going in my head that I can't stop. So I'm listening to this going over and over, and it does calm my mind, and it was a godsend for me, at least for me being able to sleep and get a good night's sleep. So the app is kind of segregated into kind of 5 different areas. You have your first home page, and you can, I don't know why you would, but you can connect it to your Facebook, but quite frankly I don't want my Auntie Claire knowing that at 1:30 in the morning I'm listening to some music to try and calm me down. She'll probably ring me up and see if I'm okay, and it'll make me worse. But that is a way you can kind of connect with other people who probably have the same problems as you, and it gives a kind of a rundown, like a feed in your Facebook of the times people are meditating or listening to soundscapes at the same time, or just before or after you, which is okay if you like that kind of thing. The next, the next kind of sub menu is it's like another home page, but it gives you it's like a menu, a browse menu of the things you can look at. So you have what is most popular, you have what they call guided meditations, which is the spoken ones, which I don't like. Then you have the music, you have a 365-day playlist. So you can do it on a daily basis if you want to get into that kind of taking maybe say 5 or 10 minutes out of your daily life to just relax and forget about everything else that's going on in the world. There's talks in there, and there's also teachers, which is, you know, teaching you methods of relaxation. Then they have another sub menu, and this is a kind of what they call this is the timer and the presets, which is a sound or a progression of sounds that repeats over and over again, and you can choose what you want, and the duration. There's a bell sound that you can put on to denote, you know, the end of a kind of piece of music where it will start off again, and an ending bell. But you can change, and they give you all these different soundscapes. So let's see if I can pick one and just play it for you. So just turn that up. I don't know, hopefully you can hear that. But you get one called Moonlight. And it's just sounds that have an almost melodic feel to it. And like I said, it just pushes everything out from what's going on, you know, outside of your four walls. And then the fourth subset menu, there are group pages. It's like a message board that you can talk to people and feedback and that kind of thing, and then you get your kind of setting page with your profile on it. But I've really found it very helpful, as I said, especially with my sleep patterns. If I had anything to say about this, it's like, even if you're only admitting it to yourself, that your anxiety or your stress is becoming something of a problem, at least admit it to yourself. You don't need to tell, you know, all and sundry about it. But these apps, they're great just to calm the mind, to push out the stress and the pressures of your everyday life, which seems just to keep getting faster and faster, and more pressurizing, especially, you know, when you've got like office jobs and stuff like that, and there are so many rules and there's so many regulations, and you feel kind of very oppressed by it all. It does start to get on top of you, and it's just a simple thing that will not necessarily eradicate it, but it will certainly help you monitor your anxiety and your stress levels, and hopefully, even if only by small decreations, you know, reduce that stress. So that is what I have been listening to this month. Okay, so I said this month would be different, and I said this particular portion of the video would be casual, because I am what is called probably a casual gamer. I do enjoy the odd computer game now and again, and at the moment I am quite obsessed with this quite old game now. I'm sure it's been out for ages, but it is Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. It's that whole Dungeons and Dragons type of game, and it's right up my alley. And I just thought I'd show you a little bit of it, show me playing it, and how terrible I am. I always set the settings at normal. I don't want things to be made too easy for me, but at the same time, these people who put on these levels, like nightmare level, I'm just like, no, that is too stressful. I'm coming here to be entertained, not to drive myself insane and stress myself out even more. So this is the main menu. I've been playing it for a while. I'm on Act 3, Machines of War. And this is my character that I've been building up. You can choose different kind of types, magician, which I'm playing, or a warrior, or a cleric, or a thief. All those kind of tropes of the Dungeons and Dragons type gameplay. So I've been building him up. I don't particularly dress him to look brilliant. I just put him in the stuff that's going to protect me or give me the best powers. So he may look a bit strange to you lot, I don't know. But let's click on continue and we'll show you some gameplay and what everything looks like. It will load up quickly. Alright, okay, so I'm in Bastion's Keep Stronghold, and this is me running around. I've got someone coming around to help me. So as you can see, it's very much kind of, I think they call it third person. You're looking down on your character. This is the main game play. In the top left hand corner, hopefully you can see that. You can see the health bar of the Enchantress that I've got with me. In the bottom left hand corner, there's my health bar and all the powers that I've got and the buttons that relate to them. In the right bottom corner is the map. There is an inventory, skills, paragon, follower and quest menus. This shows me all my weapons that I've currently got equipped, which is on the right hand side, and what I can change over with the left hand side. So as you can see at the moment, there's a sword there that is actually got better damage than the one I'm using, so I can swap that over and make it look make myself stronger. Let's just quickly flip through all those, just check there's nothing else that I could be wearing that's better. Then you have skills, and for a magician, obviously your tool is magic, so you have your primary weapon. At the moment I'm on electrocute, and then I have a secondary one, which is a disintegrate. A defensive weapon, which is I can freeze people in their place. I have a force spell, which is Hydra, where I can summon a Hydra to attack everyone with fire. I have, let's see, a magic weapon. This imbues whatever weapon I've got with more power. I have an explosive blast at my disposal, and lots of others, and you get more and more as you level up. This is the bit that I don't know about and I haven't worked out, but it hasn't stopped me getting very far in this game, and this is the whole paragon menu, so I'm going to skip that because I really don't know what it's for. If you have someone with you that's following you, you get their skill page. So again, we have a weapon that's got better damage than she currently has, so I'm going to swap that over. In the case of your followers, they don't necessarily, depending on who you've got, depends on what kind of skills and magic and things that they can hold. So mostly for the Enchantress, because she's also magical. it's all magic spells. And then your final one is your quest menu, and it'll tell you what you're currently needing to do. So my current objective is to go through the Ariat Gate, which is outside the keep that we're in at the moment. So let's try that. Fortunately, there is a nice little arrow on the map that tells me which way to go to do that. As we go along, there's a little stash box, so if you've collected a lot of stuff and you don't want to sell it, you can throw it in there, give yourself some more room to add more weapons. There's lots of people you can chat to if you want to along the way, but I'm just going to show you and hopefully get to some action. And here we go to go outside, which is probably filled with lots of demons that I have to kill, maim and destroy, and that's fun, isn't it?
I have saved Bastion's keep. It is time to leave the confines of the keep.
I like these kind of cut scenes because they're done in a very very artistic way, kind of very comic booky in some respects. So here we go. Yes, there's a big battle going on. It's not particularly open plan. There is a map. You can go through it all, so you can pick up, you know, absolutely everything that you find. Blowing up barrels that might have something within them. So, come on, let's have somebody to fight. I don't know why I'm blowing everybody up, but right, okay. So, there we go, we've got something else that we now need to do. We need to get rid of some stuff. Alright, so here we go, lots of baddies to blow up. My power set is quite big at the moment, and there's not a lot of stuff that really bothers me, to be honest. I haven't died very much in this. Doesn't matter how big they are. Which I guess some people might say, well, you should be playing it on a harder level, but, you know, I just want to enjoy myself for a little bit. I'm not looking for something incredibly difficult. As I say, I'm only a casual gamer, so it's not often that I pick up a game. They're usually very old and I just download them off the Xbox 360 kind of app page, I guess you'd call it. Unfortunately, because my Xbox is so old, it is the tray that you put your discs in has broken, and I can't use it. Basically, I can't use it anymore. So I think you kind of get the idea. Oh, and you know, it can get mad at sometimes, because there's lots of people around, so I have to really kind of concentrate, so it stops me from talking to you lot, but it's fun. But that's Diablo 3. I think it's fun. If you played this before, let me know. Tell me how you got on with it. Did you play it on easy? Did you play it on normal? Yeah, that is Diablo 3. Right, finally, what have I been reading this week? And as you heard from the top of this video, I'm actually reading a proper book. And when I saw this in one of the local shops, I mean, I got this for a lot cheaper than it's actually put out for. I was very excited. I guess people might say in a kind of morbid way, seeing as this gentleman died a year or so back. But he was very influential in my kind of musical upbringing, and kind of shaped for a time what I listened to. I'm talking about this book, David Bowie, A Life. This is by Dylan Jones, and I say by Dylan Jones because if you've read this, or indeed if you haven't, the book is a collection of not necessarily interviews, but almost they're kind of like memories from people who were part of David Bowie's life. And it's done in chronological order, so it starts from his very beginnings and works up to the present day. I've only just reached the 70s, but it is such an engrossing read. It covers, like I said, it covers so much of his life, and involves so many of the people that crossed his life. Obviously, Angie Bowie, his first wife, is in there. There's stuff by like Iggy Pop talking about him, to the point where it's like there's commentary by antique dealers that used to know David Bowie, because he used to go in their stores to buy, you know, the clothes, the kind of really outlandish clothes he used to wear when he first started. You know, Peter Frampton. There is a lot of big kind of rock star names in here. John Lydon. There's kind of music mogul Harvey Goldstein. His then manager, Tony Visconti, and is it DeFries? I can't remember. Rick Wakeman's in here. I'm trying to find. Damn it! It will come to me. Anyway, the thing that not necessarily surprises me about it, but given that it's point of views of people that surrounded David Bowie's life, the almost contradictory nature of certain events in David Bowie's life, as seen from all these people's lives, is incredibly interesting. Angie Bowie was, I guess, a very kind of Marmite type of character and person in David Bowie's life. For people who looked in on it, they either loved her or they hated her. This kind of brash journalist, you know, American, over the top, very forceful, but at the same time as being incredibly annoying, she was one of the people that were really pushed Bowie to become the person he became. And the start of what I have already read, even like the 60s stuff that I'm only really just rediscovering, because I obviously wasn't born in the 60s. But the drive and the ambition and the certainty from Bowie, as seen through everyone else's eyes, is just fascinating and amazing. Everyone knew that Bowie was going to be this huge star, that nothing was going to stand in his way, and not in a brutal, callous way. I haven't read anything from anyone so far that has said that Bowie was particularly ruthless in getting to where he was. He just had a drive, and he was not going to quit. He was going to make it to the place where he believed he should be. And despite all the kind of the misfires, seeing all his kind of contemporaries like Mark Bolan seem to do better and quicker than him, than he was doing and than he'd have liked, he still persevered with it. And the way he listened to a lot of people, took in a lot of culture that wasn't necessarily part of the whole rock aesthetic, because he came from a very kind of folky background to begin with. But his literary influences alone just wouldn't normally sit with a big rock and roll star, a big rock star that Bowie became. I am just starting to get into the 70s and the whole Ziggy Stardust era, which is obviously one of my favourites eras of his, but just a great read, and I can't wait to get further and further on into the world of David Bowie and his career. That was, I mean, he was such a chameleon and kind of progress. He didn't just stay in kind of one mould, you know, the death of Ziggy Stardust, you know, that he got to such a big height with that character that he portrayed, that when he kind of like killed him off, it was a big shock, and then to see what he turned into next was an even bigger shock. He never stopped shocking people, but he never stopped, I guess, ingratiating himself to the masses, and getting a larger and larger following as his career progressed. I think the guy is fascinating, and I've been kind of going through that whole YouTube rabbit hole of watching his interviews from all eras, and just listening to him talk. And while some people might see him as somewhat pretentious at times, especially in his certainly in his early career, I just think he had a very unique mind, a very unique mind, and in a kind of era that was struggling. We're talking the 60s, which, you know, Summer of Love and all that, but were definitely hard times for the UK population, and definitely in the 70s, with strikes running through all the kind of public sectors. So to have that magic of Bowie being able to, as I said, persevere through the kind of doom and gloom, and have this kind of ray of light in people's lives, that, you know, there is magic in the world and it is David Bowie, is just a wonder to behold. So loving this book. If you're a fan of David Bowie, it's in nice kind of little kind of chunks. You know, sometimes someone reminiscing about something might last only maybe about 5 or 6 sentences till you're on to the next person, which might be a page. But as I said, it's set in kind of chronological order, from well, right at the beginning of his life in 1947, right up to 2016 ends at. This book came out, I think, in 2017. Probably got done just before, and completed just before his death. But sad to say that, you know, a musical genius. Not just musical genius, I mean, he traversed all kind of lines, TV, movies, video games, big proponent of the early days of the internet. Just, if you can think about it, he's done it. He's wrote books. He's done a lot, and certainly left his stamp on the certainly the musical landscape, but the cultural landscape of certainly the UK and contemporaries of his genre, whatever he landed in. So David Bowie, A Life by Dylan Jones. Check it out. Thank you all for watching. That's me done for the month of April. I'll be seeing you at the end of next month with another This Month I Have Been Mostly for what I've been up to in May. Don't forget to hit subscribe, thumb this video up, tell me you liked it, and comment down below if you've used the Insight Timer app or are going to give it a go. If you're a casual gamer like me, what games do you love playing? And what are you reading at the moment? Give me some suggestions for all the topics that I've done in this video, and I'll see about trying them out. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. It's always appreciated to see and hear from you all. Bye bye.